everybody. This is Glenda Gibson, and I am the host with Donna Druin of Art Dust. And we have the great privilege today to have a guest on our podcast, Fiona Caley. Get that the right way around. And um, and we're going to be talking to her. She's a photographer, which is very interesting, and she's been to Iceland, which is very amazing. So we'll be asking her some questions. But just before we do that, how are you, Donna? How has your week been?
Good, thank you. Other
And
than
what
cutting my finger, then I'm fine.
with a knife that you shouldn't have been using.
Yes. Wrong knife for the job. Silly
The rock.
person.
But anyway, she's all right. She hasn't bled to death of that little cut
No,
on her finger.
no.
And I'm doing well, and I'm keeping up with the bright scarf thing here to motivate me. And we have Fiona, and if you are watching this on YouTube, you'll be able to see a bit of her artwork behind her, which is really very cool. So, Fiona, where should we start? What do you want to tell us about yourself first?
Well, hi, Glenda and Donna. It's lovely. Thank you so much for inviting me to be on your podcast and Zoom.
Cool.
I am looking forward to sharing something about my life, really, and my practice and passions. I think probably I'll start with that photography was an interest right from being quite young. It was kind of a companion of mine from, as I say, from being quite young. And I think probably because I was really shy and it was a way of being part of what was going on without actually having to open my mouth.
Mhm.
So I could do it and be an observer at the same time and watch what was going on. Um, and I would also say that it's very much linked into my faith, which I was kind of quite aware of something other from being quite young. And I became a Christian, born again Christian at the age of 11, which was a fairly natural progression, really, as
Yeah.
I say, being very aware of something other, right from being well, I don't know about being a toddler, but I was just very conscious that in some way I wasn't alone. Um, so the photography is very much linked with that, and the fact that I grew up on a farm, um, I would say that because I was surrounded by the landscape, so not only did I photograph family, but I also started to photograph the landscape around me. And all of those three factors, I think, have remained with me in some way or other as I've
Yeah.
got older. And in some ways, the landscape photography has definitely increased. Um, my faith has morphed into various different ways, but it's still absolutely at the heart of my life and also at the heart of the reason why I photograph as well.
Mm.
Cool. Wow.
So, so is photography how you earn your living, or is there another part to the Fiona Caley?
Uh, well, I was late. Yes, I did earn a living through photography for quite a while as a commercial photographer, and I was late to coming to that. I suppose my life has taken a very, it's a bit like a river with lots of bends and lots of breakouts and a few waterfalls and yeah, dry bits as well along the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I would say I feel I've had a very interesting life. Our experience has been more important than earning money,
Mhm.
which in some ways, there's moments when I think, I should have, I should have did it the other way round.
Yeah.
Because I've never really been totally comfortable. There's always been a degree of living on the edge a bit, and risk involved. But I came to photography late. I was about 41, 42, and I was studying photography and art at college. And the tutor at college, I think he must have seen something in the way I photographed or something in
Yeah.
my work. And he asked me if I wanted to become his second photographer in his photography business. So that's what we did for about 6 years. I was a commercial photographer, and I did the usual things, lots of weddings, lots of PR, lots of
Yeah.
prom do's, charity do's, you name it. We went to events. Elvis lookalikes was one of the highlights. Um, and but we sort of travelled all over really, and after
Yeah.
about 6 years, I must say, I felt my wings needed to. I needed to go off in a slightly different direction, partly because, some of these events I'd be coming back at 4 o'clock in the morning,
Yeah.
sometimes later because we'd be traveling all over the country. And, and then having a couple of hours sleep and then heading off again. And yeah, lots of rolling around on the ground, to take
Ugh.
shots from ground level and that
Yeah.
kind of thing. Which after a while, I'm really pleased I did it. But after a while, I really wanted to do something else. And what had been growing alongside had been working with community groups or in the community, and just being able to share my passion for photography and as an easy medium for people to pick up and an easy medium for people to express something about themselves,
Yeah.
the highs and the lows. Uh, Not, people, yes, it's good to have a good eye with a camera, but certainly in a community project, I found it very accessible. Usually because somebody could lay their hands on a camera, or we could try and get funding, or we did get funding on different projects for cameras so that people would have access to them. And I just knew how much it had benefited me, and that was
Yeah.
sort of my prime motivator, really. The camera had been a companion for a long time throughout my life. And as I said, I've still had been quite shy, along my life, and the camera was there and it did its
Yeah.
job to help me integrate. But it also was a go-to tool when, I was feeling a bit down, or if I just wanted to do something to improve my mental health, really. So I could just go outside, find a bit of landscape. I didn't need to look for the beauty in the landscape. You look for something and
Yeah.
you make it meaningful somehow. So that took me on a different direction, and it was, community really. And ever since then, I would say I've tried to either create projects and work in partnership with people, approaching charities or organisations to say, "Do you fancy doing this?"
Yeah.
And for a long time, that was sort of, I would say, my main way of earning a living. It's petered out of late. I think maybe that's something to do with my age because I'm wanting some way of earning something so I can cover the basics, after several, well, many, many years of risks, um, taking risks and, opportunities. So now I sort of split. So I do project work if I can, but my rent is covered in
Yeah.
other ways, which I hope are equally as creative, but I don't have to have that, push, and I don't have to be driven into
Yeah.
applying for projects or creating them. And in some ways, that's a good thing, but also in another way, it's possibly not because it, from a more of a comfortable standpoint, I'm not quite as driven to seek those opportunities, which can be, life changing, certainly for me, and
Yeah.
I hope make a difference
Mm.
in other people's lives. Um, so yeah, it's a bit of, it's just kind of what do they call it? A smorgasbord of, yeah,
Yeah.
all sorts really. But I certainly miss it. I mean, this time of the year, I haven't had any kind of creative community projects.
Yeah.
And I do miss them. The winter time, it's quite quiet, and it's like, come on, I'm itching to either apply for something or find something to get going again because I do absolutely love working with people in a workshop
Yeah.
setting. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Your photo you've got behind you. So
Yeah.
where was that taken?
Well, yes, Iceland.
Oh, that actually is from Iceland. Okay, cool.
Yes. Yeah. So last year, it was my third visit to Iceland, and on each occasion, the first time I went to Iceland, it was a long weekend, and I thought I really must come back here because, of course, it's a land of landscapes.
It is.
So I did go back there a number of years later on a fly drive with a friend who I hadn't actually seen in, dare I say it, about 20 years, but we went on a fly
Wow.
drive together for 10 days. Um, but we'd met when we were working for the Aina community on the Isle of Iona, which is that's another offshoot of my
Yeah.
winding river of life. So yeah, we went for 10 days, and even then I thought, no, I must come back for longer. So I saved up, which of course, you have to do really for Iceland because it
Yeah.
is, compared to our cost of living, it is really quite expensive. Although it is quite possible to, try and do it as much on a budget as you can. So I went and I'd found an artist residence studio on the West Snæfellsnes Peninsula. I can't really pronounce it. Icelandic I couldn't master the language when I was there. It's really difficult to read and pronounce,
Yeah.
but so that's a very poor pronunciation. But yeah, so I went there and stayed for a month. I could access it through GPS coordinates because it was kind of off, it was off grid, although they had connected it to electricity and water.
Yeah.
Beautiful location for a month, and it was just a bit of a reset as well for me. And I, yeah, absolutely loved it. Just having that time, which I think is really important when you're a creative, and I know you'll know this as well. I imagine
Yeah.
you need that time as well for yourself. You need
Yeah.
something to recharge your creative or your faith batteries. You need
Yeah.
something to kind of rebuild that inspiration again. And it was absolutely wonderful. Had the most um, amazing time. Not always easy being on my own for that length of
Yeah.
time, but uh, I found that if I was starting to get a bit low or just thinking, right, I'm struggling a bit, it was an ideal opportunity. It's like, come on, Fiona, get your camera, go outside, go for a walk or something, or do something creative, and straight away it takes me into a different place, which I would say applies to all of my life, really. That, the
Yeah.
go-to of being creative. Um, it's definitely intrinsic to my well-being, which is why I feel so passionate about,
Yeah.
sharing it and having opportunities to do that. Um,
Yes.
yeah,
There's nothing quite like sharing with other people. It's you've when you've got to a point where you've learned something securely and you can then share with other people and you watch them kind of go, oh, that really works. And yeah, there is some it is there is a joy there is a joy in and sharing knowledge. It's yeah, it is different. It's different from having yeah,
yes, no, it is. It is. So it's kind of so it's sometimes quite difficult to explain or express, isn't it? I think maybe because it's sort of at your heart or in your core. Um, it's kind of an essential part of really that the creative
Mm.
journey is. If you're so inclined, if you know that sharing it is absolutely a joy, isn't it?
it is
Mm.
it
Yeah,
is joy.
I
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
I had a project last year which was I worked on this is an example really of the kind of projects. And I applied, I put in an application for a smallish pot of money to deliver some workshops with a photography work walkabout group that I'd started in, well, a good few years ago now. and I thought we could have a dabble really. It's a bit of photography, but a bit of mixed media, putting images onto other surfaces. So anyway, I was fortunate. So I did get some money. So we did get some. So I ran a series of workshops, and it was all around the theme of the South Blockhouse in Hull. So it was really interesting, which was built by Henry VIII. He was obsessed with, protecting Hull from within and without. So these massive fortifications were put
Oh,
in
wow.
around the city. But what was interesting about it for me was, the maritime history, but also the fact that we had a subject that we could then, say, right, we're going to do something creative and respond to it in,
Yeah.
in a different way. So, and the people that took part, some of them had never had work on the walls before. Some of them had never, had a go at the processes that we used. And, for me, that's, just to see them have this kind of community exhibition in a fabulous space in Humber Street in Hull, and see their response and how they brought different people along to see it. That's the reward enough in a way for me,
Mhm.
absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm still as passionate about it. I mean, I started off as a freelancer 2007, and that
Wow.
aspect of it I'm still, as passionate about. So I'm hopefully looking forward to whatever the next project will be,
Yeah.
whenever it comes about. So yeah,
Wow.
I love
I can't imagine living on my own for a month.
yeah. I suppose, I mean, you both of you have families, don't you? So
Yeah.
it's maybe different. I mean, I'm used to living on my own. Although I do get cabin fever, I still
Mm.
do, if I'm spend too much time on my own,
Yeah.
which, that applied as well in Iceland. Um, but I think it did make me focus, because there were no distractions. I stepped out of the front door of the studio and there was literally no sound other than the
Wow.
wave. No human voices, no traffic noises. And when I travelled around Iceland, um, I connected with the landscape there, and it's vast. I mean, it's huge. It's, the vistas there are sort of, well, they're massive and they're open and empty, and I really respond to that kind of a landscape. And that's where I think my connection to the landscape as a child and a young person
Mm.
working on the farm, um, that was one of the motivators for me, along my life, really seeking out different landscapes for that same reason.
Yeah.
Um, of years of working in a tractor, going up down a field and being absolutely driven mad because I'm on my own and I'm, 16 hours in a tractor, and I'm really, at the end of the day, I'm looking for somebody to come and pick me up.
Yeah.
Um, so I think as a young person being faced with that isolation, I think, yeah, I would say personally, it taught me how to cope, manage on my own from a very early age.
Yeah.
Because of course we were all driving tractors at ridiculous ages, all
Yeah.
doing our bit on the farm right from.
mm,
So it does, yeah. So it's definitely been that the experience of you know being in that tractor all those hours, day after day after day, and seeing the
Mm.
landscape change, seeing the birds come to land, the crows and the seagulls and whatever else coming to land on the field behind you as you're
Mm.
working. Um, it's definitely influenced my response to other landscapes, and being able to, I would say, was a direct link to being able to go somewhere by myself for a month.
Yeah.
Um, I would
Mm.
definitely do it again, and I would recommend it as long as you're happy, reasonably happy in your own company, which as I
Yeah.
mm.
sometimes I wasn't. Sometimes I had to look for an escape.
Mm.
So, so,
Yeah.
I
yeah,
think it's really so for photography for me is I take my camera with me with you know, my phone is my camera. And so
yeah,
take that with me. And if I see something interesting, I photograph it. So it's completely different. I don't see it as an art form in the way you do. But listening to you, I completely relate to supporting my well-being and my mental health by I journal and write. That's
mm,
real. If I'm very low, that really helps me. But also just splashing paint around and fiddling with pencils and stuff here at my desk, or big painting, big body movements. All of those really help my
Yeah.
well-being. It's absolutely fascinating. Well,
Yeah.
and shouldn't be surprising that photography as your art form does that for you. It's really amazing, really lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. I think somebody recently looked at some of my work, and well, I've had different people say interesting things, which which actually I'm really pleased that they responded in the way they have. But I think as well in my photography, I'm not interested in stunning sunsets. I'm not
Yeah.
interested. Well, I mean, I am, or I was at
Yeah.
one time in the early days, but I think when I see a landscape, I want somehow to convey something about the emotion of the place so
Yeah.
that it is, people can maybe respond in different ways. It allows a space for somebody to pause. You know, if it's a big landscape, if it, there's a lot of sky, and it's a moody sky, people can stand and maybe just get something from it that's more
Yeah.
not about the technical, but it's about the way it might feel.
Yeah.
Somebody said, "Oh, there's a real Zen feel to your photography, or to your images." And somebody once said, and she was in tears at the time at an exhibition, but it was in a good way because she said, "Your
Yeah.
work is bleak but beautiful." So, but it had really touched something,
Mm.
Yeah.
within her. So it isn't just about kind of producing a beautiful image. It has to. It's something about, and when I'm working on an image as well, I'm drawing something with it from within to hopefully, share in that image. You never want to say to somebody, "This is how I want you to respond to an image
Yeah.
or something, your
No.
artwork," but because you have to leave it open. But
Yeah.
Mm.
I'm hoping that, people might find solace or a sense of peace or a sense of wonder, um, or a sense of the connection with something greater than ourselves,
Yeah.
which
Mm.
again links back to, landscapes, faith, and the
Yeah.
journey really throughout my life, and
Mhm.
why it still is so important to me to record the landscape, um, warts and all, really.
Yeah.
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 Mm.
Yeah.
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 I find going back to the mental health thing, I find going outside. It has been raining, which does not help. Pens
No,
and paper don't like being wet.
no.
But yeah, I've tried taking a canvas out, but I've only done that in like September, October time because it just it's like yeah, yeah, but I do take my gear outside for a good walk, and I've yeah, that being outside and being able to touch something that's real and it's long older than me and been here before me and is going to be here after me. There's something I like being like, I'm only here for a little bit. I'm only here for a custodian of the time that it's been in existence for. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a bit of, again, you were saying it's about being an observer again, isn't it?
It
We're
is.
observing. We are, and we're recording in some way or other. And a bit like you, Glenda, I mean, I love to write as well, and
Mm.
the words generally come along, in support of an image, or to somehow link in. Uh, and yeah, I love because there's always been this thing when you're creative. which I want to do all sorts. I want to do everything.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
It's like
Oh yeah.
it's like
So,
what do you settle on? What do you want
yeah,
people to look at? I mean, I could go, and I have done. I'll go off in all different tangents. I mean, I love printmaking.
yeah,
Uh, I love transferring images, but definitely, I suppose the two are the photography and the writing, which comes
yeah,
alongside. Because writing is a real, yeah, that's definitely like you, Glenda. The low points, when I've not been able to go out or do anything, the writing, sitting there with a pen and paper and just either going,
Mm.
or
Yeah.
write a poem
yeah.
or something.
Mm.
And it's just the most wonderful thing, isn't it? It's so
It
free.
is.
So,
Mm.
I find train journeys, I don't know, is the rhythm of the train, but that makes me
yeah,
want to write. But when I'm just walking around, that doesn't happen. But when I'm on a train, don't know, words just yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Interesting.
It's, I don't know what it is
What
about a
is
train.
it?
I
Yeah,
don't
what is it about that? Is it because do you think you're totally relaxed? Is somebody else is transporting you somewhere? You can just relax into the journey, no responsibilities,
know.
just
Maybe.
Yeah,
not
you
crying.
can't do anything else.
No. I could read, but yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, train journeys. I tend to write on
Mm.
train journeys. I have drawn other people, but the train journeys here are too short. And there's also they're not very well populated trains.
That is true.
Yeah, sometimes I get on that train and I am the only person on the train.
Just before we go, I wanted to I don't buy magazines mostly because especially women's magazines were not helpful um, to my mental health. I didn't want to hear about any more diets or how to be a better wife, etc., etc.
No,
But just lately, I've bought secondhand because magazines are so expensive.
yeah,
A few magazines, and how I use magazines is I actually just love to look at the pictures. I hardly ever read what's written. These last two magazines, I've been reading what's written, and I'm thinking, well, that was a waste of time. But the pictures are like they're like windows into another world. A
yeah,
lot of them in the magazines I've been getting, a lot of them are artworks actually. So I've been looking at that too for various reasons. One of my little ventures I'm going off on. But the photographs are a real window into another place. And just hearing you talk, I feel like you are sharing
yeah,
a window into another world, like, you know, even if it's a close-up world, like the detail of the leaves, things that you've got
yeah.
behind you in the picture, or a vast Icelandic vista. It's a window, isn't it?
Mm.
It's beautiful. I
Yeah.
It is.
do.
Yeah, that's thank you. I think I would hope that's what I'm doing in a way because yeah, it's I think yes, I would hope that people when they do look are able to see through and feel something
Mm,
different. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm.
So, Fiona, talking about artwork, where would people find your artwork if they wanted to find it?
Well, I'm on Instagram, and I yes, uh, well, yes, good old Instagram. Anyway, I'm on there. I mean, it's constantly changing, isn't it?
Oh,
One
it
way
is
or the
all the
other.
time.
Yes,
What's your name? Is
it's
it your
I'm on literally. I thought I'd just keep it simple, and it's as Fiona Caley. So
okay?
just literally, it's my name. And if you do find me, you will, and you're not sure. I don't think there's another account just with my name, Fiona Caley. There's no gaps or anything, so it's all joined together. And if you look down, hopefully you'll find landscape, so you'll be able to see that it's me. I do also have a website, but I don't update it as often as I should. Uh,
Like the rest of us.
it's
Lie.
like it's sitting there. It's like, and I can just hear its little voice in my my left ear, like update me, update me. Anyway, that's the same. It's fionacaley.co.uk.
Yeah.
Uh, so there's the different projects. there that and they are mostly landscape or people in rural life. So
All
yeah,
right. Okay.
Okay.
yeah. So that's where I am currently.
That's really cool.
Well, Fiona, thank you. Thank you so much. That was
Yes.
really beautiful discussion.
Yes.
And I
That was
really
it. Lovely.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
So thank
Thank you for
you.
asking me. Yeah.